Learning to schedule yourselves for work in those environments with the goal of having a smooth and schedule and taking advantage of your paid time on your calendar is something that took me a few semesters to understand. Also, I had to learn what each campus expected from me when I worked there and what could I expect at the campus itself. Again, this is from the state of California, and it may be true in other states. It's very difficult to get a position, an interpreting job that's full time in a community college or university. What do I mean by full time? I don't mean the paid time that you get or the paid hours, but I mean the benefits like how many days of paid time, personal time, vacation time, insurance, etc. For reasons related to bureaucracy, the hours that an interpreter could work at one campus is limited in my area again. For example, community colleges, those hours vary in the limitation. There's various maximums, but interpreter can work. And let me say, it's not only against interpreters. It's really reasons of providing health insurance and benefits to how they hire. It's all very complex, and that's why I call it bureaucracy. But example, as a coordinator, but also as an interpreter, I had to understand those hours. What are the hours that I can work at one campus? If those hours are limited, I've seen 20, 25, 30 limited per week, that means that for me to maximize my calendar, can work at and have to work at various locations. And really, it makes a big difference in how I schedule myself and how I give my availability to the coordinator. Why is that? Well, my ability I can provide to them and it can work, or I can get nothing because it has to match their needs also. It has to match the services they're providing. And so, when I look at the general campus calendar, most of the times, for example, does a campus schedule Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday for classes, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example. At one campus, they never had, for example, Friday classes, unless it would be a longer class, like a 3-hour class. So a class would never have a meeting 3 days a week that included a Friday. It would not be Monday, Wednesday, Friday ever. It would not be Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That kind of thing is what I mean. And I knew it would always be 2 days from Monday through Thursday. And if there would be some kind of meeting or for a class on a Friday or even a Saturday, it means those hours would be longer. Would mean as an interpreter, I could provide my availability. I want to give a full day. I don't, for me, and maybe I don't want the afternoon or the morning. That's what I mean about scheduling where you work and, in respect to community college. Because when you give your availability to a coordinator, you're also giving it with a commitment. I'm going to give you this availability and I'm holding my time that won't change because the coordinator takes time to build the calendar, build the schedules, but also I'm giving it with confidence and trust that they're going to give me work. Maybe, what you as a professional might need and feel satisfied to work a specific place. But it works both ways. It means what I do in giving my availability, does it kind of match how their campus works, how their campus schedules, but also there's some trust there in the coordinator. The coordinator understands my skill level, and understands what I can do. And so also they are considering me in their scheduling. while they're building their schedules for other interpreters. Many post-secondary institutions offer some kind of mentoring, whether it be official or not. The field of sign language interpreting, the profession, has always had a focus in it of the value of giving back. And in some way, how we've been able to support each other is when we have assignments or when we have a new entrant to the interpreting field, a novice. We have the spirit of giving back and supporting each other and encouraging each other by offering mentoring. And if and when, of course, that interpreter agrees. So with this in mind, some universities and some community colleges offer mentoring while you're working. I have myself experienced scheduling interpreters for mentoring while I've been coordinating. And that is, let me tell you how it works. I would assign an interpreter with more experience to a team, and then they would be assigned to work together and have a dialogue about mentoring. They both have to have the agreement with the college. Why does a college do that? It's not just a way of giving back to the profession, but also it's a way of investing in that interpreter, because those skills, when the interpreter advances and develop, when they experience more growth and strengthen their skills, they still continue to be part of that interpreting pool. So that investment helps also the service providers at that campus. So I myself have also benefited from mentoring and from observing other interpreters. It's really a big benefit, and really, you would be surprised how often you can find mentoring opportunities and work. But I'll say again that it can be official or not. So that also working with many teams, you know, that's what you got to do right now is take advantage of working with really great interpreters, because you will learn so much from them simply by observing their work. And not only is it observing their work with how it is that they, produce an interpretation, but how they deal with things that come up, how they deal with, hearing people and any situation that might arise, but also its opportunity to have a professional discussion. And that is really where you can learn so much as well. I want to tell you something about networking, building your professional contacts. I always tell my students, including when they're new entrants to the interpreting training program, you are always networking. If you have a discussion about this video, your comments, your participation is an opportunity to network. The person who is sitting next to you, to one side, to the other, they're your future team member, your future coordinator. They can even potentially be an agency owner. My past students, they have reached out to me after their graduation, after some time in the field. They have reached out to me to offer opportunities to be a speaker, an opportunity to be paid while still in this same profession. So you always have to remember that everything that you do, you are developing and building your brand. You're establishing your brand, which means everything is networking. So if you have a little problem with a coworker or a classmate, fix it now. Take time, resolve conflicts and any minor problem because you are always doing networking, building your professional contacts. So now I'm going to talk to you about how, as a coordinator, um, how I consider things while scheduling interpreters, including, of course, their skill set. But so now we're still focusing on scheduling, but now from the perspective of a coordinator. What I look for as a coordinator is that I want the whole package in an interpreter. I want everything. Someone who is a good member of the team, someone's got good skill and is dependable and friendly. If you're the whole package, the coordinator always wants to keep you as part of the interpreting pool and will consider you first before offering hours to maybe another person who maybe is a little less dependable or maybe a little less friendly. They will always go back and think of you. We're looking for consistency and continuity. That's my responsibility in scheduling the best option for a class. And also, for what the needs of the class are, the communication style, what's happening in class. And so the best option it doesn't always mean a top level interpreter. Because I have to also consider the interpreter who can be consistent and also, consistencies for schema, for what's happening in class, the communication styles. And so what I'm looking for is someone who respects not only, it's not limited to respecting the availability they gave me, but also respecting the campus calendar, which means being available for the whole semester and being available for final exams week. And also if, more hours are needed with that student or with that class, I always consider the team who has been assigned to that class first. I want to consider them, communicate with them to offer them those hours first. And so my job is not just an email blast, like, how some agencies blast emails to fill a job. My job is not that. My job as a coordinator is to consider your previous experience, your skill, also if I can depend on you. Have I been able to depend on you for every assignment? So with that in mind, for this reason, the professional relationship between a coordinator and an interpreter is one of mutual respect and trust. We have to trust each other. Because as a coordinator, I want to prepare you for success in your assignments. I don't want you to fail. What I'm trying to say is, let me give you an example. I experienced a time where I had to pull an interpreter from a class. I needed to schedule a different service provider. I had to also observe the interpreter because I had received some feedback about their work. And my job is not only to receive the feedback and act on it, but I have to also know why. I have to know, why why did this not work out? I have to learn from that as well. And so when that happened, the interpreter shed some tears and felt a little bad, and not because of the loss of hours, although that is a consideration too, of course. I don't want to schedule you hours and take them back. But the interpreter felt bad because they thought, well, what happened? They felt the failure also, that they failed in their job. But what I want to say to you all as well as that interpreter, you who are watching my video and paying attention to me, um, that was my fault. because my job as a coordinator is not to scare you. You know, it's not that I want you to accept more work and just stay there, but I don't want to schedule you in a class that you're not ready for. My job is to encourage your growth, and because you will represent this office and represent my job while you're, you know, in class. And so I had to learn that, I had to understand the skill sets of all the interpreters who were part of the team. For that same reason, that relationship is one of trust with the coordinator, but it's also one of the best places that you can learn because you're having discussions at a professional level. As a coordinator, with employees, I depend on your communication related to, details that are pertinent to my job. I don't mean that you have to tell me everything that's happening in class, but yes, at the same time, if I have to know it, let me know. Why am I saying this? Because there's more work behind the scenes. It's not simply scheduling the interpreters. There's other work that we do too. If you feel, I'm not sure if I tell this to the coordinator, maybe something happened in class, it means maybe you should go ahead and share it with the coordinator. The reason is there's other responsibilities that include, for example, um, maintaining relationships between departments. Those kinds of reasons too. So as a coordinator, I expect you to respect the availability that you've given me. I expect you to hold the time. I can't immediately share your schedule with you. So when you tell me for this whole semester or the one that's coming, for example, let's say you give me the availability of all day Monday and all day Wednesday, because another campus you work with, you've given them all day Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, I understand that. As we get closer to the start of the semester, you tell me you're not available anymore. Oh my gosh, that's something that I'm gonna tell you, I won't forget that because I completely depend on what you said, that you're holding those days for me. You gave me the availability, but at the same time, I understand. You're giving me availability and you're giving me your own trust and confidence that I will schedule hours for you and that you'll get what you need. And so it's a relationship in which we support each other and we help each other, but we must also respect that trust in each other as well. My job is not, I don't want to take the hours I've given you, but sometimes we have, for example, cancellations. We cancel interpreters for exam days. For example, there's 2 in a class, we only need 1 for an exam. And I tell the other interpreter, it's not that I want to take your hours from you. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reassign you to other needs. Maybe there's another place on campus that might need you. If someone's available, I value and respect your time. I respect your work. And I want to make sure that if you lose hours, I want to make you whole. I'm not trying to take them. I'm trying to look for interpreter availability for everyone who needs services. Okay, so what am I trying to say? While you're developing that relationship with the coordinator, start to understand, the coordinator's understanding your level, you're understanding your level, accept some challenges. If you're unsure of something, I need you to work with the idea that you will grow, you will improve, you will become an amazing interpreter because I'm here scheduling services and I can't be out there. You can't be the amazing interpreter. I need my team to do that. I need my team to be the amazing interpreter. So as a coordinator, If I'm saying, I think you're ready for this, I think you're ready to accept a healthy challenge, don't be afraid, because that situation, this is where you can have confidence in someone at a professional level, have a professional discussion to dialogue about what focus should I have on my skills? How do I improve? Or what should I do to continue to be a successful interpreter in this profession?